Nearly 1 in 10 people worldwide struggles with addiction. That's hundreds of millions of people from every walk of life, in every corner of the globe. It's a staggering number, but what's even more staggering is how invisible this struggle can be. Addiction doesn't always look the way we expect. It doesn't have a single face or a single story. It's not a distant issue. It's all around us. It's in the laughter of friends at a cafe, the quiet moments at home, the busy hum of workplaces. It's woven into the fabric of our daily lives, often hidden in plain sight. Look around, on the bus, at work, at home. The people you see, the ones you pass by every day, could be carrying burdens you know nothing about. Addiction doesn't announce itself. It hides behind smiles, routines, and everyday conversations. Anyone could be fighting a silent battle. It could be your neighbor, your coworker, your friend, or even you. The pain of addiction is often invisible, masked by the effort to appear normal. Addiction isn't about moral failure or weakness. It's not a simple matter of willpower or character. It's a complex, deeply human response to pain, trauma, and unmet needs. That story is wrong and harmful. When we blame or shame those who struggle, we only deepen their isolation. We make it harder for them to reach out for help. It's a human response to pain, a symptom, not a crime. Behind every struggle with addiction is a story of hurt, loss, or longing, a need for relief, for comfort, for escape. When we understand this, we can replace judgment with compassion. We can offer support instead of suspicion, kindness instead of criticism. Addiction isn't confined to dark alleys. It's in every community, every family. It doesn't care about where you live, how much you earn, or what you look like. It doesn't discriminate. Anyone can be affected. It touches people of all ages, backgrounds, and beliefs. No one is immune. The silence and stigma give addiction its power. When we don't talk about it, when we turn away, we allow shame to grow, and healing becomes harder. By talking openly, we start to break its hold. We create space for honesty, for hope, for change. Every conversation chips away at the wall of silence. Imagine a world where we ask, "What happened to you?" instead of "What's wrong with you?" Where we listen before we judge and support before we criticize. Change begins with empathy and connection. When we come together, we can build a culture that heals instead of harms. The war on drugs has failed. Punishment and fear have not solved this crisis. They've made it worse, driving people further into the shadows. It's time for a new approach, one rooted in understanding and healing. We need to offer care, treatment, and hope, not just consequences. This is the journey we must take, together. Only by walking this path side by side can we begin to heal the hidden epidemic all around us. Addiction isn't just about drugs or alcohol. It can be gambling, shopping, work, the internet, anything that numbs pain. The real issue isn't the substance or behavior, but the compulsive need to escape reality. Addiction is a desperate search for relief from pain or emptiness. The true driver is disconnection from others, from ourselves. When we're isolated or traumatized, we're vulnerable. The opposite of addiction isn't sobriety, it's connection. Healing means rebuilding bonds with others and with ourselves. The solution is a life filled with meaning and love, not just abstinence. Addiction is never just one person's problem. It's a storm that engulfs families, friends, and workplaces. When someone falls into addiction, the ripple effects reach far beyond their own life. The people who care about them, parents, siblings, partners, children, friends, and colleagues, are all swept up in the chaos. The pain of watching a loved one struggle can be overwhelming, leaving everyone feeling powerless and heartbroken. Relationships are often the first to suffer. Trust erodes as promises are broken and secrets multiply. Love, once a source of comfort, can turn to fear, anxiety, and resentment. Homes that were once filled with laughter and warmth become battlegrounds of tension and uncertainty. Family members may walk on eggshells, unsure how to help or what to say, while the person struggling with addiction withdraws further into themselves. Friends may try to help, but often feel helpless or pushed away. They might reach out, only to be met with denial or anger. Some friends drift away, unable to cope with the changes, while others stay, hoping for a breakthrough. The bonds of friendship are tested, and sometimes they break under the strain. The person struggling becomes isolated, their world shrinking to the addiction alone. Isolation deepens as shame and guilt take hold, making it harder to ask for help. The things that once brought joy, hobbies, passions, meaningful connections, fade into the background, replaced by a single, overwhelming need. Professionally, addiction destroys focus and reliability, often costing jobs and financial security. Missed deadlines, absenteeism, and poor performance can lead to warnings or dismissal. The loss of a job can be devastating, not just financially but emotionally, further eroding self-worth and stability. This creates more stress and shame, fueling the cycle. The mounting pressures, unpaid bills, strained relationships, and a sense of failure can make escape feel impossible. The more overwhelming life becomes, the more tempting it is to turn back to the addiction for relief, even as it causes more harm. The person loses not just relationships and work, but themselves, their hopes, dreams, and health. The things that once defined them slip away, leaving only emptiness and regret. It can feel as though the person they once were is gone, replaced by someone they barely recognize. Addiction convinces people they're worthless and alone, but that's a lie. The truth is, no matter how lost someone feels, there is always a way back. The darkness of addiction can make hope seem distant, but it is never out of reach. The tragedy is profound, but it's not the end of the story. Recovery is possible. Connection is the antidote. When people reach out for help, whether to loved ones, professionals, or support groups, they take the first step toward healing. Rebuilding trust and relationships takes time, but it can happen. No one has to stay trapped forever. There is hope, and with support, healing is possible. Every new day is a chance to begin again. To help someone break free, we must ask, why the pain? Addiction often roots in childhood trauma, abuse, neglect, or loss. Trauma rewires the brain, making escape feel necessary. Our society's isolation and pressure to succeed can deepen the wounds. Recovery isn't just about saying no, it's about healing old pain and building new connections. When we address the roots, the need for addiction fades. True healing starts from within. Meet Gabor, a compassionate doctor who spent years helping others overcome addiction, only to discover he was quietly battling his own. Gabor's days were filled with caring for patients, but behind his dedication, he struggled with workaholism and compulsive shopping. These habits weren't just quirks, they were shields, protecting him from the pain and loneliness rooted deep in his childhood. For Gabor, the thrill of buying something new or immersing himself in endless work offered a brief escape from old wounds. But the relief never lasted, and the emptiness always returned, reminding him that something deeper needed healing. Healing began when Gabor learned to treat himself with the same compassion he offered his patients. Through mindfulness, therapy, and honest self-reflection, he started to understand his pain, not as a weakness, but as a part of his story. This shift allowed him to break free from the cycle and truly connect with others. Then there's Sarah. After a devastating accident, Sarah was prescribed painkillers to manage her physical agony. But as the weeks turned into months, her reliance on the pills grew. What began as a medical necessity soon became a desperate attempt to fill the void left by isolation and loneliness. Sarah's turning point came when she joined a community garden. Surrounded by others, she discovered the healing power of connection and purpose. Digging in the soil, sharing stories, and nurturing plants and friendships helped her rediscover hope and strength she thought she'd lost forever. David's struggle was different, but just as real. He lost himself in the world of online gaming, escaping reality for hours on end. It wasn't until he received a heartfelt letter from his sister, just a few simple words, "I miss my brother," that he realized how far he'd drifted from the people who loved him. That letter became a lifeline. David reached out for help, joined a support group, and slowly began to rebuild his life and relationships. The journey wasn't easy, but every step brought him closer to the brother, son, and friend he wanted to be. These stories aren't about sheer willpower or personal strength. They're about rediscovering the connections that make us human. Healing happens when we reach out, share our struggles, and let others in. Gabor found compassion for himself, Sarah found a sense of belonging in her community, and David reconnected with his family. Each found a unique path, but all were guided by the power of human connection. Recovery is possible for anyone, no matter the addiction or how lost you may feel. There is always hope, and there is always a way forward. The common thread in every journey is human connection. When we support each other, hope becomes real and healing begins. You don't have to be trapped forever. No matter how dark things seem, there is always a way out, and people who care, waiting to help. There is always a way back to the light. Connection is the path. You are not alone, and your journey back can start today. Recovery is a journey, not a single event. The hardest step is asking for help, but it's also the bravest. Professional therapy helps uncover root causes and teaches new coping skills. Support groups like AA or Smart Recovery offer community and accountability. Rediscovering hobbies and caring for your body are vital steps. Recovery isn't about perfection, it's about progress. Setbacks happen. They're not failure, just signals to seek more support. Treat yourself with kindness and patience. Brick by brick, you can rebuild a life you're proud of. Freedom and hope are possible. As addiction fades, you meet yourself again. Recovery is a blank canvas, a chance to rediscover your values and build a life of honesty and compassion. It's not about erasing the past, but learning from it and choosing a new path. Joy and connection return. Simple pleasures become profound again. Relationships deepen as you become present and authentic. Recovery is a rebirth, a chance to become wiser, more compassionate, and truly alive. You gain strength and resilience from facing your darkest moments. The person who emerges is often stronger than ever before. This is more than just sobriety, it's transformation. You become your best, most authentic self. No one overcomes addiction alone. Connection is the cure. We must see addiction as a social problem needing a social solution. Communities of care and support are essential. Tough love often deepens shame and isolation. Compassion keeps hope alive. Set boundaries, but never cut off the lifeline of love. Change starts with our language and attitudes. Replace stigma with empathy. Every conversation can build a bridge, not a wall. If you're struggling, reach out. Help is waiting. If you're in recovery, share your story. It's a beacon for others. We're all in this together. The opposite of addiction is connection. Let's build a world where everyone can heal. Recovery is the hardest and most rewarding journey. Millions have done it, so can you. Your past doesn't define your future. The first step is believing change is possible. Once free, your potential is limitless. You can rebuild relationships, pursue dreams, and help others. The pain you've endured can become your greatest strength. If you feel lost, know you're not alone. The path to recovery is a path to yourself, to freedom, to possibility. Take that first step. Choose connection, choose life. The rest of your story is waiting. Make it magnificent.